lackluster chant against the United States at a demonstration marking the recent 10th anniversary of the U.S. bombing of Tripoli. A decade later, and the United States is still convinced Libya is harboring terrorists and wants leader Muammar Gaddafi punished. This date coincidentally also marks the 4th anniversary of the implementation of United Nations sanctions against Libya for its refusal to turn over 2 suspects wanted in connection with the Pan Am Lockerbie bombing. But many in Libya view sanctions as more of a minor irritant than a crushing blow. Libyan European trade partners have limited the scope of the UN sanctions, so only the sale of weapons and some airplane parts are prohibited. The toughest measure is the ban on international air traffic, which means travelers must make long journeys by car or bus to neighboring Tunisia or Egypt in order to catch flights. There's a big difference between 3 hours by plane as opposed to 3 days by bus from here to Cairo, says this driver. But the ports are open for business. When the United Nations voted to impose sanctions, Gaddafi sought to soften the blow for his people by eliminating import bans. And it seems like there's no way out of this bomb. Consumer goods have flooded into the country. Libyans and their overseas workers, cushioned by the country's sizable oil wealth, have been on a buying spree.
There is no effect sanction on us in Tripoli here. We do the same usual business. We import books from Europe, Egypt, any place in the world.
The ever-unpredictable Gaddafi has made other changes as well since sanctions were imposed. International news was once restricted. Now satellite dishes sprout everywhere. English was once banned. Now it is mandatory in schools. As for the 2 suspects in the Pan Am bombing, former Gaddafi security agents, they are no closer to standing trial. Their lawyer says they will not surrender to the West because they fear they will not get a fair hearing.
They must be considered innocent till it will be proved guilty. But we are facing a situation where they have been considered guilty without proof.
Gaddafi, meanwhile, is clearly annoyed that recent overtures to Washington and London have been rebuffed. He remains as defiant as ever.
العقوبات هي تطبق على حكومات امريكا وبريطانيا.
Sanctions should be imposed on the British government and American government.
The United States, wanting an answer for the Lockerbie tragedy, has called for sanctions against Libya to be toughened. But European nations that buy Libyan oil have resisted. Libyans, meanwhile, are enjoying the policy changes Gaddafi has adopted to maintain his public support. For most, life here hasn't gotten worse under the sanctions. Ironically, it's gotten better. Gail Young, CNN, Tripoli.
It has been 10 years since U.S. warplanes launched airstrikes against targets in Libya. Could it happen again?
CNN's Gail Young is in Tripoli. She's live with Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi.
Bernie, I am in Tripoli with Colonel Gaddafi. We are in a site chosen by him, the bombed-out remains of his former home, attacked by U.S. warplanes exactly 10 years ago on this date in retaliation for alleged terrorist activity, allegations that Libya denied. Now, Libya is under a renewed threat. The United States says it may attack again if Libya does not dismantle a facility outside of Tripoli that the United States says is being used to manufacture chemical weapons. We will speak on this issue and others with Colonel Gaddafi in a live interview broadcast by Libyan television.
CNN's Gail Young joins us now live from Tripoli with Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Gail?
Thank you, Judy, and thank you, Colonel Gaddafi, for joining us. Sir, Torhuna, a city about 30 miles east of Tripoli, the United States says that you have a chemical weapons facility there. How do you answer this very serious allegation?
The world heard about these false allegations not only this year, for about 10 years ago. And until now, there is no proof from America or from any part in the world to confirm that it is a new falsification like that was many years ago. If we open our eyes and we find a chemical factory in Libya, we have to buy its price to America.
Do you have chemical weapons, any chemical weapons facilities here in Libya? Do you have a program?
We don't think about these things. Although we are under the threat of the nuclear weapons and the chemical and biological biological weapons from Israelis and America also. The fleet of America with the nuclear weapons is very near here and threats us always, every time. We have the right to do this. All Arabs have the right because they are under the barrel of nuclear weapons of Israelis. The Arabs have the right to obtain this weapon, but we have no capability. We don't think about these things, although we have the right.
You do not have the capability. Then what is in Tarhuna? What are these reconnaissance photographs of?
It is something belongs to the Great River.
The man-made river?
Man-made river. And everyone knows this, and everyone can see this.
Would you allow?
We must. That means we get permission from America when we do anything in our mountains, in our land, to make rivers, to make any instructions in our land. We have to get the permission because to avoid this allegation.
But because this allegation is so serious, would you allow an international team to come in and inspect the site to reassure those who believe that it is a weapons facility?
We are ready, but we have conditions in that case. Suppose that they come and they find no chemical factors in Libya. We say, okay, we are sorry. No, we have conditions and we are ready for this. But we have conditions. In that time, we will say these conditions.
Can you give us any idea now what sort of conditions those might be?
No, when that time comes, we say these conditions. They're not. We cannot. We don't accept to inspect our country, and then when they find, I think they say, okay, goodbye, we are sorry. No, we have conditions in that case.
If the United States follows through on its threat and does launch some sort of military action against Libya, what will your response be?
We have to defend our country, and America has no right to do this. Who gives America to do alone? America is not international police in the world. We have United Nations. We have International Security Council, although it is under the domination of America and its allies. But America has no right. We look to America as a mere country, mere state in the world. We are equal, according to the Charter of the United Nations. America has no right. But if America against all these destructive weapons, why they don't attack Israelis? They have nuclear weapons. Why America speak about Libya and don't say anything about Israelis? Although Libya has nothing. But Israelis, all the world know. It has these nuclear weapons and chemical weapons and biological ones. Why speak about Libya and don't speak about Israelis?
America...
It is terrorism. It is American official terrorism against my people. America always after these small people. Year after year, year after year. America adopted the terrorism as a based policy in its foreign policy against others. It is terrorism.
America has long charged that you are the one who aid and abet terrorists. This is their charge.
America, since the administration of Reagan, always allegations against Libya. But until now, they could not bring any proof in front of the world that Libya committed any terrorist action. They say lies.
To take a break now. Up next, we're going to discuss Lockerbie and the sanctions against Libya for the past 4 years. Stay with us. With you, but would it be possible for CNN to go to Tarhuna? We're back with Colonel Gaddafi in the bombed-out ruins of his home, a site he has chosen for this interview. This interview is being broadcast, by the way, by Libyan television. Colonel Gaddafi, coincidentally, this date, the 10th anniversary of the bombing, also marks the 4th anniversary of the implementation of United Nations sanctions against Libya for its failure to turn over the 2 suspects wanted in the Lockerbie Pan Am bombing. After 4 years of sanctions, air embargo, oil parts embargo, are you any closer to resolving the fate of these 2 suspects?
Anyhow, we are ready to choose any third country, and these suspects men to go there for a trial. But the governments of America and the British, they don't want to solve this problem. We know the reason, because they have no proofs. And we try to longer and fancy it from year to year, rule it from year to year. They avoid the trial.
In the United States, in the West, in America, people perceive you as being a bit irrational, irresponsible. Are you aware of that image? Does it hurt you?
صورتك في الغرب وفي أمريكا بالذات يعني أنك أنت رجل متهور ومش حكيم، يعني أنت قلق هذه التصور.
No, it means nothing for me, because I know myself well. And the innocent and good citizens in the world know me, and the people everywhere know me and love me, and I love them.
Thank you. Thank you, Colonel Gaddafi. From Tripoli, Libya, I'm Gail Young. Bernie?
Okay, thank you very much, Gail.